What's up, y'all? Welcome to the garage. Okay, this is a Padron. Not one of the fancy anniversary editions. It's one of the 7000 series, but it's a nice cigar nonetheless. So, in today's episode, we have a lot in store. This thing obviously is in here, but we also have this thing in here, which is my daily. It's a 230i, slick top, all manual, everything. I love that car. I worked really hard to get it, so I'm happy that I have it. And we are basically going to rewarm the garage again because it got so cold with this chill that we had recently. And then going to my girlfriend's families for for Christmas, it took some time. So basically I just I let the garage get cold again. So we're gonna heat it up, and the idea is basically I'm gonna use this cold and my very large cojones to go outside in this weather and crack the sound deadening off of the blue Civic, the purple Civic, whatever it is. Pull whatever parts we can all fit, start getting it disassembled more. And I also bought a surprise for this car as well. So, and then I also want a compression test, and I want the car, so I want to see how it does compression test cold and hot. Should be interesting. Man, is it cold? It's not even dark out yet. Anyway, there was a little bit of tar there for sound deadening material. You can see there's a little bit of tar there, and there's some tar here. But with this cold weather, I'm hoping I can get it up more or less. So we're gonna keep chipping away. I had to take the seat out, and I scratched the mint condition paint here, which sucks, but it's okay. We're gonna keep trekking on. That's what we do, EJ2 Track Rat. All right, fun. So I got my trusty torch, and I could not use the cold to take advantage of anything, so I had to use my torch to remove all of the sound deadening. The hard part about this car is there's a bunch of seam sealer underneath of the sound deadening, so see all this yellow stuff? So the seam sealer is very difficult to get off, in addition to the sound deadening, especially when they're bonded together. So like with the EG, everything was super easy. With the EG, it was basically just sound deadening, but with this, it's seam sealer and sound deadening. So they really built these EKs to a higher quality, you know what I'm saying? But I was thinking that the cold weather would help with the removal of some bits, and it's helping here and there, as you can see. But yeah, this weather just kills your motivation, man. Like, I was outside for a little bit cleaning that car up, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to be out here anymore. I just want to be inside chilling. But race season does not stop for anyone, so I guess what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compression test this motor. So I do have a procedure. My notebook is inside the house, but it's okay. I'll write the notes down here and then transfer them to the notebook in the house. And yeah, so I'll run you guys through it. All right, so the first thing we're going to start with for compression testing is this infrared gun. This is a Raytech brand infrared gun that I got from an old job that I worked at. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure right up here on the thermostat housing, and then we're going to check to see that the engine has oil in it. We're going to remove all those plugs. The battery does have power to it, and then we're going to hook up a compression tester to each of those ports, measure the cold compression test values with that temperature, get the engine warmed up. This does have coolant in it, and then once it's up to temperature, we will then shut it off, and then we'll take the compression test hot. So let's go over here. Yeah, let's just hit it and see what it gives us. So we, okay, 36 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so oil looks nice and full. So we're going to go take these coil packs off. Now these coil packs are from a Acura RSX, but they fit many different models of K-Series motors. All right, now we got our 16 millimeter on our wrench. Now, take a magnet. All right, cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4. The burns all look pretty even in there. I'm not seeing anything that's alarming. The electrode gaps look pretty uniform. And if you really want to test the plug for heat, and if you want to examine a plug when you're tuning a car, I have read that if you truly want to do it in practice, you have to pretty much run the car to high RPM, shut it off immediately, and pull them out. And then others will disagree with that, but I guess the reason being that when you bring it down to lower RPMs and if the fuel richens up, it will wash away whatever was left on the plug. Not sure if that's true, but whenever I do this, I just do a brief inspection. I want to see if there's any oil leaking into the cylinders from the gasket. I want to see if the electrode gap is the same. I want to see if there's any damage, and they look fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to prime the motor. We're going to crank it with no plugs in there to prevent any compression from preventing it from turning over, and then that will get oil through the bearings, and then we're going to get a compression tester and see what the compression is. All right, it's been, I think, like 2 months, 1 or 2 months. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Cool. Fires right up. That's awesome. Now, this is some cheap compression tester that my buddy gave to me. He broke one of the ones that I had, so he gave me this in return. At least I believe that's the backstory. We'll just go with that because it sounds good. Nothing fancy, some Chinese crap, but we're going to hook this onto this and screw this into there. Now with the meter in there, I've been told that you want to hold the throttle wide open while you crank it. I'm not sure how that matters aside from building pressure quicker, but we're going to do it anyway. So that means I'm going to get in the car and we'll turn it over and then I'll get out and do it again for all 4 cylinders. At least twice because it's cold now and I got to do it hot. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I hear the fuel pump priming again. And then I'm gonna put the throttle wide open. Wah! Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Ah! All right, just a smidge under 200. All right, just a smidge under 200. So it looks like they go in 5-pound gradation. So it looks like 195 pounds cold on cylinder 1. All right. 160, not that good. So the good news is the majority of the cylinders are in very healthy shape, but cylinder 2 is not. Cylinder 2 is a little bit down. And what I did to I just wanted to double check to see if it was, the testing procedure or anything like that. I might go back and grease the threads to make sure that that didn't cause the issue. But yeah, it's low by 30 PSI, which means that it's either in the head or it's in the bottom end. Hopefully it's not in the bottom end. Hopefully it's not even the head. Hopefully it's just, I can just grease the threads up and get a better result across the board. That's really what I'm hoping, but we'll see. It's not losing pressure, because if it was a thread issue, it would be losing pressure, but it's still 170, so I think my motor is down on power on cylinder 2. That sucks. Yeah, but we got to keep going. We got to see, if we can get this thing, wake this thing up, so I'm going to try again. Okay. Yeah, it's down. It's down on power. All right. Great, so that means that I have to do a leak down now and see where it's losing the power from. Hopefully it's just a head issue. Maybe I tweaked the valve a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I did run this thing hard as hell, but we'll have to see for sure. So that's on the list now. So it's down a little bit. Not even sure if I should do the hot one, but I guess it couldn't hurt, aside from giving myself carbon monoxide poisoning. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll fire it up. She's alive! Ah! right, water temp says 170 degrees, which is good enough. Operating temp on this motor is like 195 or so. We hit it with the Fluke or the Raytech, get about 170. It's going to climb. Circulating fluid is better at dissipating heat through convection than stationary fluids. So the fluid is going to slowly raise in temperature and then it will fall, which is part of the reason why you need radiator fans while you're in paddock, but also because you're not getting any of that air flowing through your air to water heat exchanger, which we know is a radiator. So we're going to pull out these these coil packs. Hopefully there was like a frozen ring in second cylinder or something like that. And then when we test it, it will go away. Fingers crossed, because I really don't want to pull this motor. But yeah. And this is why we do hot and cold, because you can see that second cylinder came up quite a bit when we did that second test with it at 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember that this motor actually probably did have a little bit of a decompensated second cylinder. Like the second cylinder probably was a little bit low from when I got it, but I'm afraid to machine it, and I'm afraid to take it to a machine shop. Not because I don't trust the machine shop, but I mean, it's an OEM GSR. It's never been machined. It's never been touched. Came from a VIN matching car, and the guy who owned it didn't really install the clutch correctly. Had a bent main shaft and in the trans, and probably wasn't that great of a mechanic. Maybe he was, but maybe he didn't know Hondas. So, you know, with that being said, I have to decide now, based on leak down results, if I want to take this motor and I want to refresh it. So that's the motor, guys. Not too bad, not too shabby.
With like good intentions, like everything does have a reason. I totally believe that too.
Yeah.
And I did learn a lot from it, and I don't think I'd be here like talking about it if it didn't happen. So
Right.
I get like how the universe